Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing some easy polygel nails with dual forms using Venalisa and Ombre products.
I've pushed the cuticles back, got rid of any dead skin, matted the surface, applied primer and a base coat. I was lucky with these forms because they do fit me. Sometimes you do need to tailor them a little bit. They've got to be big enough, so from sidewall to sidewall, and also fit snugly along the cuticle. And it is possible to cut these if necessary. Out of old habit, I've put down a little bit of glitter in some base coat. I could have put it straight in the polygel, which I've done later in the video, so that was completely unnecessary and it's given me some more work. And the polygel I'm going to be using today is the clear from Born Pretty, and I'm also going to be using a pink one from Venalisa. I'll be linking everything down in the description below. To start off with, I'm just going to grab a small blob, and in that fancy pink dish I have got some slip solution. Unlike the solid gel that I've used a few times in my videos, this does need a liquid to move. Otherwise what happens is it will just stick on your brush. And I've also got a towel underneath so I can dab it off if I need to. This is a firm polygel which I absolutely love. I don't like them when they're too soft. I'm just going to kind of spread it out. Make sure you come up the sidewalls, but don't do it too thick at the cuticle. And I like to do one nail at a time and then cure them in between. And I'd rather take out a small amount of polygel than take out too much at once. So I'm going to secure that with a clip. If necessary, you can turn the nail upside down with a bit of slip solution on the brush and kind of pat out if there's a ledge underneath the nail. I'm just going to do a little tiny bit of tidying up and then I'm going to give it a cure. Now be careful when you remove the forms. I haven't done a full nail here, by the way, on all of them. I've just kind of done a thin extension. Now this is a glow-in-the-dark sequin gel, very fancy. And because I kind of wanted to layer it a little bit, I didn't want to risk that being uncured in the layers of the polygel. So I'm going to do that separately. When I'm happy with the application, I'm going to give it a full cure. And I haven't used this as a builder, by the way. Now this leaves a very sticky inhibition layer, so that allows me to kind of go straight in with some glitter on a fluffy brush. I'm just going to leave that one for now, as is, but it'll have to be encapsulated and have the structure built up. So I'm just going to move on to the next one, and I've got some artificial flowers. Again, I've put some polygel down and I'm kind of just pushing those petals into the polygel. But whatever you do, make sure that they are properly stuck in. Now I would like to address something, and that is working wet or dry. You've got to have enough slip solution on the brush so that you can actually move the product without it sticking. However, if you should use too much slip solution, what can happen is that you kind of water the polygel down a little bit, and that can give lifting at the cuticles especially. My advice there would be to use a towel and dab it off when you feel you need to. If you should use too much, what you can do is just leave it for a little tiny while so it evaporates, and then you can continue working. If you want to check it, just flip it upside down and have a look. Because I want to use the sequin gel in parts, I'm not going to do a full nail in the gel form. There is one important thing though, and that is, in order for it to stick on the nail, you have to have polygel that actually attaches to your nail bed. So where I've got like petals and I've got glitter, I do put a little tiny bit of extra polygel down again before I put it down. Same as last time, start at the cuticles and kind of push it on gently. And if anything goes on your skin, remove it immediately. And when you push it down, make sure that you don't have any air bubbles. If you do, lift it up and then press it down again and make sure you get all of them out. When that's had a full cure, I'm going to repeat the same steps as I did on the first nail. Remove the form gently, go in with some sequin gel, any additional glitter or sequins, and then full cure again. And this business with the sequin gel, that is optional, by the way. You can go in and fill it straight away with polygel if you want to save some time. On my middle finger, I wanted a, reverse fringe. Like I've done on all the other nails, I'm going to start off with a little bit of clear. Now I'm just going to try and get this as thin as possible because I don't want anything bulking up. If you've got too much product inside the form, what's going to happen is it's just going to ooze out. Sometimes it can be a little bit hard to judge placement. I'm not going to extend the nail bed directly. First of all, I'm not going to pull the entire coloured tip all the way down. I need a little bit of a margin. And then I'm going to come in with some pink. But again, this is not perfect. The reason that I've applied some pink already is that I don't want a gap. Again, this needs to be really, really thin. So I'm going to put that down on my nail and cure it so it's secure. And as you can see, that nail is really, really flat with no structure at all. So we can't leave them like this, otherwise they'd snap. Where I've done my nails in a fairly similar manner, I'm just going to go quickly through my index finger. Same procedure as the other ones. I've used clear polygel, got some brighter coloured petals, a little bit of glitter, and I've put it on in the exact same way. I know this might look a bit daunting with all the ingredients, but if you're a beginner, just start with polygel and glitter. You get more confident, you could advance a little bit. And long nails with just the glitter ombre is actually very, very attractive. You don't have to use loads and loads of stuff.
On the thumb I wanted to do an ombre. So I've just grabbed a little bit of the pink again from Venalisa. And I'm going to be spreading it out super thin. And because it's an ombre, I am not going to pull it all the way up. Because I want it to look a little bit blended. Where it's sticky, I'm going to be putting some flowers in. And that will show up behind the pink. And again, we might need to make sure that it's completely covered. So I'll be using a bit more clear for that. But we don't want to be putting too much product underneath. All that's going to do is cause a thick nail that's out of balance. Down a little bit of clear on top of the pinky. And I'm going to do the same on the ring finger. I'm not putting it all the way into the cuticle. I've got a gap of about 1.5mm. The design needs to be protected and we've got to have enough product. And all I'm doing is just smoothing and thinning it out. I think Born Pretty and Venalisa are my two favourite polygels at the moment, brands. First of all, the clear is clear. Second of all, you can work for a bit without having to reapply moisture to the brush. I usually do a bit of finish filing, but even so, it still makes it a lot easier when the product goes on well. Now I'm going to do the nail bed properly here. Putting a small amount down. This is practice. And I'm just going to pat it into shape. I've also got a tool, that's the one on the right, that can help me cut it if necessary. I didn't have to use that. Because again, the polygel stayed where it was supposed to. There will be a ledge, but we need that because we're going to be doing some filing later. So on the index finger, I've applied some more sequin gel on it, just for some details. And on the thumb, I've put a little tiny bit on and kind of just filled in the gaps around the cuticle. But it is thinner than it looks and I haven't used it as a builder. When that's done, I'm going to give them a full cure. Now moving on to the index finger again, I'm just going to put down a bit of clear on top, protect the design. You don't need a mountain of apex, but you do need a bit of structure and a decent upper arch. I just wanted to refine the nail bed slightly, so I'm just going to go in with a file. It's not a lot of work, it's just to sharpen it up a little bit. Make sure to get off any dust before you continue working. Now this is a painting gel, highly pigmented. I'm just going to use a liner to come around where the nail bed meets the free edge, just to kind of deepen the colour up a little bit. And because of the pigmentation, I have given this a cure before. before I moved on to putting down a little bit more of the sequin gel. Before I went in and cured that, I just put down a little bit of glitter as well. Again, encapsulating. And I did also go a little bit over the nail bed just to build it up, because I was a little bit short on product. The most important thing to remember is you don't leave it with a ledge or a gap, and make sure you come all the way up the sidewalls so that you fill it properly. Now I'm going to refine these very, very quickly, just sharpen up the shape. And there wasn't a lot of work to do. Now after I filed them, I gave them a good dusting. And where I'm going to be putting down a pearl pigment, I have given them a thin coat of top coat first, that I've cured. It has to be a no wipe, that is super important. If you use one with an inhibition layer, it just doesn't stick down in the same way. And remember, chroma powder only goes where you put the top coat. Just using an eyeshadow applicator, I've just rubbed them in a little bit. This didn't make them quite as harsh, it kind of toned them down a little bit, softened them up. You have to finish it off with a second coat. Come over on top with a top coat again. Here you can use one of your choice, because the chrome's already down. Make sure that you seal all the edges and the free edge. This isn't the worst chrome, but some chip off straight away, so you need to be very, very mindful when you use this. Now I'm going to cure them all thoroughly. I do the thumb separately so that gets cured through, and I'm going to put some stones down on one of the nails, and then I'll be back to show you the final result. Thank you so much for watching and suffering my dreadful COVID voice. Please like and subscribe and hit that bell for a notification next time I release a video. And until next time, bye.